Hey, Scotty Martin. See this fella here? This is one for you. Happy Walleye Wednesday. Bye, fishy.
Yes, it is, Nick. It's once again Walleye Wednesday. Thanks so much for that great greeting. And even though sometimes technology and us old guys doesn't work so well, that fish did go back in. Thanks for being such a responsible angler, and keep them coming, Nick. And I encourage the rest of you to do the same. Send your videos in, and we will use them on Walleye Wednesday. So once again, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If it wasn't for you, this would be like any other Wednesday. And if it wasn't for our great sponsors, Canadian Fishing Network and Scotty's Outdoors, wouldn't be much either. This past Sunday, we finally got the chance to hook up with one of our good friends, Jon Wakimoto, who donated a whole bunch of his hair jigs to our 12 Days of Fishmas. And they just went out to you, Paul French, just recently. And if you don't know what a hair jig is, this is a perfect example of what it is that Jon ties. This is a banana head, perch finish, bucktail hair jig. We've had the luxury of tying that on the end of our line many times over the past year, and we caught an incredible amount of fish with them as well. If you haven't tried them, go over to his Facebook page, Jon Wakimoto and his Gremlins Custom Baits, and take a look, scroll through his catalog, and hopefully you could tie one on. In the meantime, let's have a look at his interview. With my good friend Jon Wakimoto from Gremlins Custom Baits, and we're just taking a break in the action. She's pretty chilly out, so we decided to just come in here and do a little interview. And I want Jon, who has been fantastic when it comes to the 12 Days of Fishmas and just about everything that CFN and Scotty's Outdoors do in regards to supplying us some of his incredible hair jigs. Jon, when and how did you start Gremlins Baits?
I started Gremlins Baits just a couple of years ago, and it all started with not being able to truly find something out there, and it was more or less supplying people that I knew with what I was already tying for myself.
And that's the best part, because Jon ties everything himself. And as I said, I've done a lot of fishing, and I've caught a lot of fish with these baits. And I've got one that's actually still tied on to one of my rods that's still in unbelievable shape from the time that I tied it on. It's like showroom condition. So as I say, Jon, you spend a lot of time obviously in your basement on the vices tying this stuff, and I tell you, it's a true testament. So if you get a chance, Jon and I are going to go out and hopefully hook a few walleye, but if you get a chance, go to his Facebook page, Jon Wakimoto, and check out some of his stock. And I'll tell you, you won't be disappointed the next time you're out on the water if you try them. Now for this week's profile, guys, and unfortunately we caught it a little bit late because Alzheimer's Awareness Month was actually this past January, and unfortunately now that we're into February, we kind of missed the boat. But we want to thank Kayla Laukka for bringing it to our attention, and let's go on to her profile. Now this week's profile, guys, is a really interesting story, and there's so many intricacies that hook into fishing and what Kayla does, and I hope, Kayla, I do a good job at trying to feather this all together. But it all started with a conversation that Kayla and I had in terms of the full moon, and of course how that affects walleye fishing. And being a walleye angler, we always like to fish around the full moon. But one thing that I learned is how the full moon affects people that suffer from Alzheimer's. So a full moon affects different people in different ways. And with an Alzheimer's patient, Kayla will tell you that in a lot of cases it intensifies their depression, their acting out, their anger, so much so that in a lot of cases caregivers will do what they can to get rid of their shifts during a full moon phase. Kayla's story starts with her passion for looking after the elderly, and I'll tell you, my hat goes off to her, because not only are these people older, but they also have mental and physical disabilities, which makes her job extremely difficult. So as Kayla tells us, one of the drawbacks of being a caregiver is that personal attachment that you gain with the patient. And on one occasion, she lost one of those favorite patients, and on her lunch break, she decided to go down to her local river and she tied on one of her favorite pink Jungle Joe's jig flies. And as she looked up and addressed her friend and said tight lines and all the best, she threw that into the river, and on her third cast, she managed to catch a fish. And with that fish, guys, Kayla was able to go on with the rest of her day with a smile. And as I said in previous Walleye Wednesdays, guys, I had no idea the healing properties that are associated with fishing, and Kayla has yet given us another example of it. I think it's incredible. And, you know, Kayla was all worried because she didn't have a lot of walleye pictures. But I'll tell you, this story needed to be told. And one of the things I want to say in closing that she recommends, if you have the chance to take out your parents, grandparents, neighbors, anybody that loves to get outside but doesn't get the chance, she recommends that you do so. Don't leave them sitting in a nursing home or staring out the window wondering when they can get a visitor. She wants to encourage everybody to get people outside, enjoy the outdoors, and I'll tell you, experience the healing properties that come along with it. Now, without further ado, here are some of Kayla's wicked fish picks. So there you have it, guys. Kayla Laukka, I tell you, she's got some great picks, and she is a big proponent of catch and release. And she brings up a great point because Alzheimer's awareness is this month. We caught it late, but as she did mention, full moons do affect people that suffer from Alzheimer's quite badly. And we have another full moon stage coming up in February. So be aware. And to my good friend Jon Wakimoto, who joined us out here tonight to catch some beautiful walleye.
Beautiful walleye.
And introduce us again to some of his beautiful bucktail jigs that are available. If you go to his Facebook page, have a look. They have caught me an incredible amount of fish. And guys, as I said, till next week, all the best. Be safe out on that ice. Be responsible anglers. Catch your limit, limit your catch. And we'll see you next week. All the best, Jon.
Thank you. Happy Walleye Wednesday.
Yeah, baby.